All right, so let's make some macros for EQ and filter. Real simple to do, so it's not too intimidating, but there's a couple little things that you might want to consider. So we're just going to make a 3 EQ setup, and we're going to use 2 auto filters. So I'm just dragging these right in to the track. And then we want to group all of these. So let's highlight one, Command A, that'll select all of them, and then Command G to group them. And this will show the macros when we click up here. And it creates the audio effect rack. And by the way, if you're using a PC, just use Control instead of Command. All right? So from here, really simple. Let's use macro 1, 2, and 3 for the low, mid, and high gain. So I'm just going to right-click, map to macro 1, and it already names it low gain, so that works. Macro 2 and macro 3. Perfect. So now what I want to do is I want to edit this so that it doesn't go beyond 0. That way when you're DJing, you're not going to slam it too loud and start distorting or something like that. So let's map this to 0. So we're just going to hit the map here. And then all these where it says the max is 6, we'll just click on it, hit 0, 0, 0. And now, as you see here, these are now maxing at 0. They won't go beyond that. Because when you're DJing, it's really difficult to find 0 if you've got a point above 0 as well. So not only are you avoiding distorting, but if you want to get back to the place that you were, which is usually 0, it's pretty difficult if you don't make that the max. So next, let's get out of mapping for now, and let's map the high pass filter here, and we're going to make this one into a low pass, which means this one will remove the highs, and this one will remove the lows, all right? So what we're going to do here is just right-click on our frequency, and I'm going to assign this to macro 5, all right? And I'm also going to map the Q so that we get a little bit more grit into it. And I'm going to map it to the same macro, macro 5, all right? So now we have this, and as you can see, both the Q and the filter frequency are both moving at the same time. Okay, so this macro is assigned to 2 different things. But I don't want the Q to get too extreme. So it maxes out at 3. Let's back that off to 2. So I'm going to come in to map, and then we can back this off here from 3 to 2. And I'll just make it a little less extreme, but it'll still have some grit to it. Kind of nice there. And then this filter, I'm not going to assign it to the Q. I'm just going to assign it here to macro 6. And this one will go in reverse, okay, from high to low. Now, if you want this to start up at the top when it's at its lowest and then move down, you can just reverse these. You can come over to map, and you can switch over here. So we'll make this 26 hertz, and we'll make this 19.9 kilohertz. And now, when this is at its lowest, this is normal. And then as you move this up, it will start removing those highs. So whichever way you prefer to do is up to you. And then we could just rename this macro 5. We'll call this high pass. And this one here we'll call low pass. And now we're all set up. So if we go ahead and play this, we could remove the lows. Mids, high, and then we got our low pass filter. And then we got our low pass. So last thing I will do is I'll just color code these just because colors are cool. And we'll make this one blue on this. There we go. So now all we have to do is just name this. We can call this DJ Strip or whatever we want. And then just hit save. So with other knobs, you may want to assign to sends and returns instead of adding delays and reverbs to your DJ strip. And the reason for that is when you turn off a delay, let me just show you real quick here. If we have a reverb, for example, when you assign this to a macro, let's just assign this to macro 8, and we'll play the track. It goes immediately back to dry. It has no carryover. Actually, let's turn the decay up to really hear what we're missing out on. It doesn't sound very natural to kind of go directly in that direction. So let's undo that real quick. Instead, we could assign these two knobs, and we would just simply come to MIDI and then click on these, and we can assign those to knobs on our controller or what have you. And with that, as a return track, the delays, let's turn the feedback up on this. We've got this 100%. So with this, the delays will carry over even after we pull it back. So you'll see it's more natural sounding. And if I make the feedback longer, it'll be more noticeable. All right, same with the reverb. Let's turn this into a long reverb. And as you can hear, it just kind of washes out and then fades on its own, which I think sounds much more natural in a DJ situation. So you'd probably want to assign these to your controller knobs, and then also assign these to if you have the extra knobs as well. Most controllers have 8 knobs, so that would give you the ability to control all the EQ, the high pass, low pass, and then reverb and delay. And if you got one extra, you can do some other interesting effects and things like that as well. So there you have it, guys. That is macros and setting up your DJ strips for DJing.